Can you believe that it's been 7 years since the first foldable smartphone launched? And in these 7 years, companies have spent millions of dollars on research and design to fine-tune that foldable form factor to look like a normal, regular candy bar phone. And I think that we have finally reached there. This is the Vivo X Fold5. And it feels a lot like a candy bar flagship phone. Now, I've used this phone for 2 days, not a long period of time. So what follows is my first impressions. And if you're watching me for the first time, I'm Ashad. This is Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Let's start with the design, and the X Fold5 is slimmer and lighter than the X Fold 3 Pro, and honestly, it barely feels like a foldable phone anymore. Does that mean there are compromises in the design? Actually, not at all, because it packs in a 6000 mAh battery, which is possibly the largest one that I've seen inside a book-style flagship foldable. And with that, I actually got an impressive 12 hours of screen on time. More about that in a bit. Also, this titanium grey color that I have been testing actually feels kind of premium and classy, and it looks nice. Very nice, in fact. As for the durability, you get IP58 and IP59 rating, which is the best on any book-style foldable that we've tested. The display now uses 2nd generation armor glass, and it's got SGS 5-star drop protection, and we've already dropped it twice during our testing and nothing's happened to it, barely a scratch. In fact, I'll do this. Galti se toot gaya na? Nothing. So Vivo also claims that this book-style foldable can last for 6 lakh folds. Even if you fold and unfold for 100 plus times a day, that is 15 years of opening and closing like this. And yes, that thud is very satisfying. As satisfying as our subscriber numbers going up. It's not going up. You guys have to do it. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. But there are a couple of design tweaks compared to the X Fold 3 Pro that we tested last time. So firstly, the alert slider that was there has now been replaced by a customizable shortcut button. And secondly, the X Fold 3 Pro actually came with an ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner, but the X Fold 3, which didn't launch in India, came with a side-mounted fingerprint scanner. And that's the exact one that's been used with the X Fold 5 as well. Everything else about the design remains the same. You get the same volume rocker above the power button. You also get stereo speakers, mics, and of course, a Type-C 3.2 port. In fact, it's so slim that the Type-C port actually sort of breaks out from the bottom and it's not aligned with the bottom part at all. Alright, now to talk about the displays, firstly, we have the outer display, which is a 6.53-inch 120Hz refresh rate, 21:9 aspect ratio, 80 LTPO AMOLED display. And once it's unfolded, the inside display is an 8.03-inch 80 LTPO AMOLED panel, again with 120Hz refresh rate. But there are only two differences between the inner display and the outer display. Basically, it's the resolution and the PWM dimming. So the outer display has Full HD plus resolution with 2160Hz PWM dimming, whereas the inner display is a 2K plus resolution display with 1920Hz PWM dimming. Now there's one more common factor between the inner display and the outer display, and that's the peak brightness. It's 4500 nits when you're watching HDR content. And with Vivo's professional color tuning, you also do get fantastic color accuracy along with really good visuals. And that's not it, you also do get support for HDR video playback on YouTube. Plus, since it's a Dolby Vision certified display, you also get Dolby Vision HDR support on Netflix. So evidently the display experience is good, but one area where the multimedia experience falls a little short is in the stereo speaker experience. See, it's not bad. Take a listen to it for yourself and let me know what you guys think. But if you have to analyze it, since it's a foldable and you get more space internally, we expected the speaker quality to be slightly better. We had a similar experience with the haptic feedback tuning as well. Basically, it's good, but it's again not as good as a good flagship candy bar phone. Now to talk about the performance, internally what you get is Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, you get 16 GB of LPDDR5X Ultra RAM time, and you get 512 GB of UFS 4.1 storage. And in all of our benchmark tests, it performs like any other 8 Gen 3 phone would. You get over 2 million on Antutu, and of course solid Geekbench scores, both single core and multi-core. Now as for gaming, BGMI runs at 90 FPS, Call of Duty runs at 120 FPS, and we haven't run our Genshin Impact test yet because we didn't get as much time, so stay tuned for a full review to know more about how this performs in Genshin. But generally the phone doesn't get hot and the performance is good. But what really blew me away is definitely the battery performance, because in our first run it gave us 12 plus hours of SOT, but that was like a very light run. But even in our second run it gave us about 8 hours plus of SOT, so you can expect anywhere between 8 to 10 hours on moderate to heavy usage, which is fantastic by the way. And the inbox 80-watt charger can charge the phone from 0 to 100 in about 50 to 53 minutes. Plus you also get 40-watt wireless charging support too, which is of course non-standard, so you'll have to buy the wireless charger separately. Now with the connectivity front, Vivo's gone kind of all out here because what you get is dual SIM support, 19 5G band support, Bluetooth 5.4, and of course NFC 2. But more importantly, there are antennas all around. Of course, there are antenna lines that you can see on the frame itself, but Vivo says that there's antenna tech inside the hinge as well. And there's a dual screen enhanced antenna setup which actually helps keep your signal strong. In general, we tested it out with our primary SIM and the Airtel and Jio performance was fantastic and the call quality is really good too. Now, since this is a Vivo phone, of course, the cameras are also the highlight here. The primary is a 50 megapixel Sony IMX921 VCS sensor, and the ultra wide is a 50 megapixel JN1 sensor. And finally, you have the 50 MP IMX882 3x periscope camera as well. Now, for selfie cameras, you get two selfie cameras, one on the outer display and one on the inner display. And these are 20 megapixel cameras, down from the 32 megapixel on the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro. Now, from my initial testing, the camera captures fantastic pictures. Whether it's daylight or low light, you get a lot of details from the primary camera. The HDR also works really well. The skin tones look natural with the Zeiss natural color mode, and thanks to Vivo's AIGC based enhancements, zoom in shots retain sharp textures and detail. And I'm not just talking about 3x, I'm talking about 3x and beyond. For a foldable, it's pretty impressive. Vivo has also introduced a couple of new camera features with the Fold. One is a telephoto stage portrait mode. So with this mode, the zoomed in portraits offer faster shutter speed to reduce the motion blur, and it is perfect for shooting like moving distant objects, right? Because generally when you have a stage performer, they'll move around the stage. The other one is a classic negative style filter, giving the photos a 90s retro film look. I kind of like this. Now there's also the super landscape mode, in which what Vivo has done is that it has merged the night mode, the astro mode, and the super moon mode into one consolidated mode, making it easier for you to capture like high quality landscape shots. And in low light, just take a look at the pictures that we shot. They do look pretty impressive. For video recording, you get 8K 30 FPS with the primary sensor and 4K 60 FPS across all the rear sensors. However, both the selfie cameras are unfortunately limited only to 1080p 30 FPS, which could have at least been 4K 30 FPS. There's also auto framing, which adjusts the frame to track the subject, though it drops the resolution to 1080p, although it works really well. These are my initial impressions of using the Vivo X Fold 5's camera setup, and I think it's close to being the best camera experience on a foldable flagship phone right now. So, for the software, what you get is FunTouch OS 15 based on Android 15, and Vivo is promising 4+5 years of OS updates. So just like the X Fold 3 Pro, it features a persistent dock for quick app access. There's also a flex mode for apps like YouTube with split controls and multitasking tools like split screen, floating windows, and a smart sidebar. All of the features that you want from a book style foldable, it's there. It just makes your productivity experience that much better. And thankfully, the bloatware apps are kept to a minimum. Actually, there are no bloatware apps as such. There are some unwanted apps that can actually be uninstalled as well. But what's new are a bunch of AI features that actually help enhance that foldable, phone experience. First is an AI meeting assistant, which lets you transcribe video conferencing calls that you do. Then you have a smart call assistant, which translates calls and also summarizes it. Then you get features like AI eraser, AI magic move, AI image expander, AI reflection remover, AI photo enhance, a bunch of stuff. And of course, it also has Circle to Search and Google Gemini support, which I kind of like. Also, in general, while I'm not a big fan of the FunTouch OS aesthetic, which I've mentioned previously in my videos, the thing that I like about FunTouch OS is that it's generally bug-free, and Vivo has been providing updates regularly on time. So the Vivo X Fold 5 is first of the many flagship foldables that are launching in India that are competing directly with the Pros, the Pro Maxes, and the Ultra candy bar phones, flagship phones that exist in the market today. And if you look at it, when you have to make a smartphone that doesn't feel too different from a flagship candy bar phone and has two displays, you could say that this is the pinnacle of smartphone engineering that we are witnessing right now. But Vivo's biggest advantage here is that it does a very good job of the two most important pain points that are felt with foldables today, in the galaxy of foldables today, and that is that it gives you a great camera experience and very good battery life as well. And that's very important considering the retail price of the phone is 1,50,000 rupees, and it will be available from July 30th. The sale date is July 30th for you to buy. So what do you guys think of my first impressions of the X Fold 5? This is just me, scratching the surface. There's a lot more to explore. So would you want me to do like a detailed review and in-depth testing of the phone? Maybe even a long-term review? Let me know in the comments. And do you want like a comparison with the recently launched Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7? Let me know that as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.